Hi, welcome back. Green Light Living is about regulating your emotions as a vehicle for action. Because you have, and as humans we all have, a feeling brain that thinks and not a thinking brain that feels. In order to talk about regulating emotions, we need to have a shared vocabulary and understanding about things like the brain, some senses, responses, learning, habits, emotions, and self-regulations. I'm going to be sharing these ideas in layman's terms, if you will, because we're also going to be practicing the concept of KISS. In our world, we're going to keep it simple because we're smart. If we keep things simple, they become very actionable. And that's what we want, is action. If you want, there is a plethora of information about very scientific, well-written works about how our bodies function, very scientific terms and labels, and how systems interact. Again, a plethora of information, which I love learning about. But for our purposes, if we get too much information, it becomes overwhelming and we stay stuck. So dive into that scientific stuff if that's for you. But my main purpose about it is I want you to know the biological basis for understanding yourself as it relates to the process of change, your challenges, and making choices. So what I'd like to do here is this. It's important to understand why we have a feeling brain that thinks. So right back in here, and I draw very simply, and I wanted you to know too, that I also, my illustrations are going to be, so we have two hemispheres, and I'm going to take away one. So it's going to be a side view of one hemisphere. So in the side view, again, very basic ideas and drawings, but in this center that develops first, this is the center where we have things that we don't even think about. Heart rate, digestion, blood flow, breathing take place here. This is this is developed first. And then our brain develops side to side, put it like that, side to side, and back to front. Well, in developmental terms, right about in here is a feeling area. And as we'll talk about it more, this is an area in the way we were made to keep us safe. And we're going to learn how it keeps us safe. It's our survival signal area. And it's our feeling area. And so it developed around the same time, but in the back of the brain. And right back in here. And then, because our brain developed side to side, and then it developed back to front. And in this area here is our prefrontal cortex, which is the control center of purposeful behavior. And there's a lot more to know about the prefrontal cortex, but one piece that may or not be helpful, but I'll just say it now, this area often is not fully developed until we're about 25. And again, some people develop skills earlier or trained or whatever, but 25 is about the age that this prefrontal cortex is finished developing. So again, we're looking at why do we have a feeling brain that thinks, not a thinking brain that feels. So we need to regulate our emotions in order to use our thinking, the major thinking part of our brain. Now, of course, this part is used too, but the prefrontal cortex is the control center for purposeful behavior. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I'd just like to end this part of our module, this segment of our module, with this thought in mind. Again, that we have a feeling brain that thinks. Okay, see you next time.